And so, considering the fact that we're in Libra season and I myself have a lot of Libra energy, my North Node is in Libra, I have a Libra rising, um, and I also associate with Taurus and a lot of Aries energy as well. Um, but when it comes to your North Node is more so an energy for you to embody, um, or I don't even want to say perfect in a sense, but when you think about your South Node, right, your South Node is usually an energy, and then your North Node. So more so about embodying that energy in this lifetime. Um, so to get straight to the point, earlier this morning, I was getting a message about um, judging. You know how everybody always say, only God can judge me, only God can judge me, right? So only God can judge me. And think about how sensitive people get on this topic or when they're saying this, right? Um, but then let's really ask ourselves, what is judgment? What is this thing that people are just so they tense up about, a lot of fights break out or resentment, all kind of things are birthed from what we know as judgment. But then if we're not meant to judge, and it's something I've always thought about and said, like, if we're not meant to judge, why have there always been judges throughout history? If we're not meant to judge, then what is good judgment when people say you need to have good judgment? You know, your decision making, or, it's just best to have good judgment. In essence, I would say that judgment is also being discerning and utilizing your intuition accordingly. Judgment is being able to dictate whether this daycare is safe for my child, whether these adults or these people are trustworthy or safe around my child, whether whether I am accurately reading body language and gestures and energy to better conduct myself, basically moving forward or accordingly, to make sure I ensure my safety, my children's safety, my security, right? Um, so you need judgment. I know a lot of people get so cringy about it, when we're on the topic, but let's really break this down, right? So think about, let's say there's this couple, and let's say someone in a relationship steps out of the relationship, or they make some violations, trespasses, or crosses the other person's boundaries, and this person, they forgive them, they do it again, they forgive them. So there's this cycle of, this person committing some type of act that is, it violates the boundaries, right? And the other person constantly, forgives this person. So you have this constant cycle going on. And you know how I read, I don't know where this was, but you know how when you pull your energy back, especially if you're of a high vibration and pure in heart, you got good intentions, right? 336 on the timer just now. So considering that, when you pull your energy back, and you may have heard this like with the with Oshun or Risha Oshun or whatever, but when you pull your energy back, just how powerful that is to the other person, or the type of transformations that begin to occur when you pull your energy back from people who have been misusing it, mishandling it, abusing it, taking advantage of it, whatever the case may be, or not simply not appreciating it, right? And how typically this is this moment of no contact, or this moment of pulling your energy back, right? Because we're spiritual first, most people get caught up in what we can see on the outside, like our flesh and stuff like that. People don't really think about how effective and impactful our spirits are, our souls truly are to one another, our energy is, right? So there's a difference from you removing an item, a physical material item from a person, opposed to you removing like your attention from that person. I guarantee you it will hurt the person more for you to remove your attention for a certain amount of time or indefinitely, depending on the situation, opposed to you removing a goddamn item, right? Or them removing an item from you. So that's why we'll see like a lot of like battles or like with divorce. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like rightfully this person assets and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's people who just hold way more value in materials. And you're supposed to have a healthy sense of that. I'm not saying that you don't enjoy things, of course you do. But some people get so caught up and wrapped up in that in that moment they're stuck in that covetous, greedy like type of cycle, that avarice energy that sometimes it doesn't dawn on them until after the fact, once they realize they've lost an energy. They've lost the energy from the person, the other person. And eventually that sets in more and, like really works on a person. So anyway, going back. So you pull your energy back. Usually that's when people try to get their shit together or they want to prove to you, right? Some people will feel the need to prove themselves or to want to get back in your good graces, right? It's the same concept with children and stuff like that. When it comes to bearing guidance, as in you can't just let your child get away with any and everything, right? Or there's things that are implemented that we see around us. Like for example, my child is not going to be using a whole bunch of profanity, and just speaking loosely like that. That's not going to be something that's tolerated, and that's just my choice of how I want to go about parenting. But boom, so that's my rule that's set right in my household. If you're a child, and of course that reflects on me too, leading by example. So all of this matters. But let's say you just have certain rules, right? And that kid violates those rules or like push those, see, they push the limits, basically. See, like, you know there should be some type of consequence set, right? Or like, how parents will remove things. They'll remove their privileges from video games or phone privileges or whatever that they know the child, it's very meaningful to the child, or something that they damn near feel like they can't go without, they really want it and stuff like that, right? So let's really ask ourselves this. But if you was to be that parent to just simply let everything slide, like it's like a little slap on the wrist type shit. I'm not telling you to beat your kids, but you know what I'm saying? Like if you was that person to just let any and everything go, and then now it's not that you're the parent, you're being ran over. Like your authority now is being has been in a sense compromised because you're not utilizing your authority with confidence intact, right? So that's what happens when we don't give judgments or lay judgment, right? Because like I said, I know this is a touchy topic for a lot of people, but let's really think about this. When you don't pass judgment on a person, right? Sometimes that can lead to that person becoming arrogant in their behavior or their conduct towards others, right? Their treatment of other people. But it seems like it takes that one person that will stand up to them and accurately tell them or express to the person what they are reflecting, projecting, and emitting, the energy they are emitting to others, or just outwardly. Sometimes it's that one person who's just that truthful, sometimes blunt person that'll kind of be the one to, like knock that shit down, right? Or brings the reality check. So I was watching, there's this movie on Netflix. It's based on a true story, and it's called Trees of Peace. And it was about these women. It was I want to say Hutu and the Tutsi and Hutu tribes in some part of South Africa. Basically, it was a genocide. It was based on these people who survived the genocide, or just telling that story. And so these women, they were hidden away, and they was in this place for a very long time. And a lot of emotions, came up, just being trapped and having no choice but to face yourself. You can't go anywhere, life is, so some type of event, all right, some type of traumatic event or some type of unfortunate storm or whatever occurs where you're forced to adjust to something otherwise you would never, directly put yourself through, but it's kind of something that springs on you. So kind of just throwing you out in the water and you learn how to swim type shit. And basically, there was an individual who had so much anger, rightfully so, that she, wasn't sure how to really. She was just having some issues with releasing it, at the moment, and was taking her anger out on the other women unnecessarily. But the point is, there was another woman in there too, who was more like very nun-like, and she was like that traditional nun. Like I'm not gonna judge anybody. I will not judge. I will not judge. I will not judge. Right, and to each their own. I mean, there was just a certain amount of judges. I mean, through history, like it's not that everybody was going to be judges. So I mean, if people want to, you know, just give up their right to, pass that type of judgment, to co-create with the universe, right? Or like the Libran energy to co-create with the scales, right? Sometimes creating imbalance to create balance, or whatever, like having to remove some things, add some things to create that balance, or, reestablish that balance, right? Some people want to forfeit, that right, and whatever, then, to each their own. However, like, let's really go back to the relationship context of this, or concept of somebody that's in like an abusive relationship, or they're just in a relationship where they're just way too passive, like very passive aggressive, or people who are used to being surrounded by people who are passive aggressive, right? Even that. So so you just letting things slide, letting things slide. You know how there's a saying of, you teach people how to treat you and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, you can't control a goddamn thing of what people decide to do with their energy. No, ultimately you can't, but you can influence it, depending on basically your boundaries, your, how you move with the person, or where you choose to, how much access to your energy you choose to grant or exchange with this individuals. So, boom. So let's say, but let's think about the person who does speak their truth, the person who doesn't hold their tongue, in situations of injustice, right? What are the chances of that person receiving some type of justice, um, opposed to the person who choose to be passive instead and just try to work with the individuals anyway, even though these people may be being disrespectful, they may be, they may undermine, they may, not pay you, or, you know what I'm saying, or just not treat you to your, like, to the extent what you deserve, basically the quality of treatment you deserve. And a lot of that could have something to do with you, not speaking up in a situation, right? Sometimes things will happen to challenge you to, become confident with your throat chakra, your emotional expression, to say things like, and sometimes it'll keep going on, like let's say some things you can be passive with, some things you just have to be more direct with. Let's just say that. So, um, so okay, I feel energy. I feel energy trying to. Okay. Anyway, let's say a situation, an uncomfortable, unpleasant, undesirable situation continues to occur and stuff like that, and you're handling it one way. Maybe the way that you've been handling have been for you to be passive, right, and agreeable, passive and agreeable, tolerable, tolerating, or whatever the case may be, right, which can easily become enabling, right. Um, Opposed to, and then things, let's say this person just further disrespect you, or they don't feel the need to respect you, because now it's like, well, do you even respect yourself to stand up for yourself, to stand your ground, or to not allow or tolerate the disrespect? Like, what is, what's your level of self-respect for you to allow me, or, because that's another thing too. A lot of times when people are acting out of low vibrational, like negative energy, most people are infiltrated by entities, some type of dark entity or whatever, and genuinely you will see people who are very pure-hearted, big-hearted, dealing with these type of things here, and they may be feeling like that to keep the peace, they need to be quiet or passive or agreeable or tolerable or super forgiving and stuff like that just to keep the peace, but still trying to figure out why is this still, why is this still a thing or whatever, right? And sometimes, passing judgment is, you speak your truth, you stay in your truth, you own your truth, or you remove your energy. You remove something, you take something away, which ultimately, which the most powerful thing you can remove from the situation will be your energy and your attention on the subject or the person. Well, not, basically, right? There's something removed. There's some type of freedom or privilege that is removed from the person. If we think about jail, or we think about the court system, stuff like that, that would be like prison or, jail time, probation. Like, there's different levels depending on the extremity or the intensity of the whatever the crime or whatever you want to call it, whatever it was, right? The trespass. Okay. So when I was thinking about this, when I was hearing this message, the song that I heard was literally Chris Brown. Please don't judge me, and I won't judge you, 'cause it can get ugly before it gets beautiful. What does he really mean by that? It can get ugly before it gets beautiful. So this morning I was just doing a reading on my own energy or whatever, and a card that came out was I want to say Smashing Out in my Cali Oracle deck. It's actually the very first card of the deck, number one in the deck, and it was talking about a need to cut off things, so that in a death to like an ego death can occur with the persons or a situation, and basically how killing something off that is kind of draining the life force, and by removing that thing, an evolution or a transformation or restoration taking place as a result. So it's that same concept. Look, so this expression, we got throat chakra, and we got relationships and friends. So this could be like something very prominent, like in friends and relationships. This is how you can determine who is, who deserves to be considered friends, or who are true friends to you, because they don't make you feel ostracized or make you feel any type of way, or like you're out of line for simply owning your truth, and just standing, owning your truth basically. But see, this is talking about like us dealing with cycles of having a lot of cycles of karmic friends too. In order to, like, I'm even thinking about Job and his friends, and how they call themselves giving him counsel and stuff like that, but they took advantage of the fact that he was feeling lowly in his energy at that time, and they had like whatever secret jealousies or energies that they were harboring, because that what they think that he should have or should not have, whatever the case may be. And how even though he was feeling low, and he wanted that support, and he whatever, like there was a little bit of distortion going on with him because of the confusion of why things are happening in that manner. But he still wasn't so lowly to the point that he wasn't peeping the shade, like he won't catching the shade and shit. And so he confronted, he addressed it directly, called it out for what it is right in there in that moment, right? So in a sense, this is passing judgment. So I go back to the trees of peace. The lady who was like the nun or whatever, and she was saying, "No, I won't judge. I won't judge. I won't judge." Her father was a pastor, but he also used to rape her mother, and but she would never like really, like, she would acknowledge it, but never really like acknowledge it, like as in passing judgment, like, is he wrong? He's wrong, because he raped her, opposed to, well, maybe he's right because he's a pastor, and that's not really my, for me to say, even though there was some type of energy kind of attached to her because it was like unresolved in a sense. So there was a situation that occurred where it came out that a girl she tried to take her own life. And you know how people are really big with suicide. Oh, suicide is unforgivable. Or suicide is unforgivable. Maybe, but basically she felt so strongly, like she felt pressure to pass judgment. Basically, like she done encounter so many, they witnessed so many things, and she was just trying to hold her peace, like, I won't judge, da da da. But it's like, yo, you know, what do you mean? Like, if what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. Sometimes that's simply passing judgment right there. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, right? But we got a lot of people who feel very like uncomfortable with this, with passing judgment, and they end up in uncomfortable situations longer than they need to be because they don't own their truth or really express how they feel in their relationships, their connections, and stuff like that. So then you have to figure out, like, how, do I actually have real friends? Do I actually have reliable, genuine friends who genuinely care about me authentically, right? And sometimes these moments occur in these friendships just so you can find out who are your real friends, right? Because it's easy to think that you're real friends when everything is good, shit popping, y'all partying, y'all hanging out, whatever, y'all doing a lot of leisure activity type of energy, or talking about like a lot of cordial baseline mainstream shit, nothing too deep, where differences in opinions may occur or come up, right? And then there's that moment where it's like you may exchange different in opinions and stuff like that. You have some people who may get offended or they don't know how to receive your perspective or your perception, and you have others where y'all can literally just bounce, differences off each other, and just gain like a deeper, more, a deeper perspective on something, just because you do have different views, and you can respect each other's like different views, whether you completely agree on it or not. So this is another way how we can tell like who's really for us and who's not, right? Also in relationships, right? Your love relationships as well. So I had grabbed a few cards. So we got Father here. We got Father. For a lot of people, the Father or the masculine energy is more so that more authoritative energy, right? So you guys could experience a lot of authority figures. Yeah, we got grandfather here, so I'm getting this patriarch, the masculine energy, right? And then we have balance. So a lot of us, we also could have experienced like for example, there's a movie I was watching, and his dad, it was about this inspiring artist, but his dad was very traditional, societal, traditional Christian, like typical type shit, and was like, that's, it was like the concept of a struggling artist, and he was like, that's not a real job, you get a real job, blah, blah. He was judgmental in that sense of the word, right? So there's a high vibration of judgmental or judging, and there's a low vibrational manner of a more balanced manner of that, right? Where the focus here is to balance out a situation or balance out the energy, make things fair, right? That should be the goal, not to overpower someone or disempower someone in the process, unnecessarily. Especially when it's involving their passions and like their divine passions and gifts, their destiny. But anyway, the authority figure, masculine, this doesn't have to just be talking about people's fathers or just men, only the men that you experienced or the male guardians you had in your life. This could talk about just the feminists as well, the women, and how they exercise their masculine energy, right? Their energy of authority. How do they use their authority, or do they choose to abuse their authority, right? Because of the influence that they have on whomever person, right? So yeah, something about this also just being tested to us, like being tested in our friends or people being tested on their loyalty, or if they, deserve access to us, because, it's a privilege, to experience each other. Let's just say that, especially somebody who is of pure heart and, they're, of genuine friendship, right? Somebody that they can come to and receive sound counsel and fair, like a fair perspective, or whatever, somebody who genuinely cares for their highest good, their best interest, right? How is it that they can experience that, but they can't be that? They can't, reciprocate that. Now, I'm not saying, all situations that you be in is for you to receive something from the other person. That's not what I'm saying either. There's some situations where you just have to bear that. You have to you will be guided to pass judgment for all kind of shit, right? For some people, it can be in their jobs, their careers, or just parenting, their livelihood in general, or the things that you decide to involve yourself, associate your energy with, right? So having to pass judgment there as well. But we got high high vibe business partners, divinely guided. So, like I said, even with business, this, that, and the third. See, there's some things that happens as forewarnings. Let's say in a business partnership, that's supposed to give a person enlightenment not to continue forward with this person, or that somebody may not be as reliable or dependable, right? Because some people, you have an energy of undermining. Look, I don't know if this is like something very prevalent with male energies or just talking about imbalanced masculine energy, but you'll have an energy that's very prevalent, such as a need or a desire to undermine when someone feels like, I don't know, like when someone feels disempowered by your power or by you exercising your power, in a sense. And it can simply be you just owning, look, this father. So this could be father for some people, but this could be simply you owning, owning your truth basically, or honoring the truth in a situation and not budging, just to appease people's insecurities or their ego, right? So ego death, just like this card here. Yeah, I keep getting father energy, paternal bloodline. So a toxic paternal energy, right? For some of you, this could be a grandfather. Okay. Some of you could also have a grandfather spirit. So before I went live, I saw a vision of a card from the Angels and Ancestors deck, and it was the Ancestors card. When it says move beyond your ancestors, or something to that degree. And I was basically thinking about just the watered down Christian religious way of saying, oh, please don't judge me, don't judge me, don't judge me, right? So think about those lyrics. Like, so you can pull up this song and read the lyrics or whatever you want to, but think about this. Please don't judge me, I won't judge you. It can get ugly before it gets beautiful, right? Think about that. Think about that. Creating imbalance to create balance, in a sense. That sometimes it does get ugly before it gets beautiful. Those contractions, going through those birth labors, those labor pains, and having to get that baby out, and trying to avoid complications and keep your stress down, this, that, and the third. Things can get ugly before it gets beautiful. In a lot of situations, things get ugly before it gets beautiful. In your come up, in your evolution, right? Going through the dark shadow, your shadow, dark night of the soul, this, that, and the third, and then coming out more evolved or more enlightened, a spiritual awakening, undergoing spiritual awakenings, right? There's usually something that's shed, unlearn, relearn, right? Whatever. There's something that you usually have to shed. It's like the snake shedding its skin. The snake is like the most prominent animal or creature that represents evolution, right? And a snake always sheds its skin, and a skin, it develops another one, or it bursts out like with a new skin, right? New flesh, right? So we got seer, see beyond the current situation. And then we got earth guardian, stay rooted and grounded. But see, this came out reverse. Right, so we got high priestess, harness mystic power. The high priestess is like known as the energy that has the secrets, that knows what's going on, whether they choose to speak up about it or not, but they know what's going on. They're 10 steps ahead. They see what's going on. They have the eagle's eye, right? So what use, then what use is it for you to receive downloads, visions, premonitions, dreams, like foredreams of things to come, or energy that's present, or whatever? What good is it for you to receive these type of divination gifts, or receiving this information and communication from the spirit realm, for you to not apply or act on that or move accordingly, right? It's like, it's usually information that you get so you can be aware, so you can know to move accordingly. So what is that then when you don't utilize that? Because you feel like, oh, I don't want to judge. I don't want to be judging this person. Like, I don't want to be judging this person. So then it creates imbalance in you, or confusion, or indecision, indecisiveness, or you even questioning yourself to a degree. Like, basically, it's just, what I'm saying? You'll have to utilize your discernment and apply it, right, to stay grounded and rooted, especially in your faith, right, in your walk. So then we got traveler, and this came out reverse. It says move in a new direction, but this came out reverse. This came out reverse. So when you're not passing your judgment, you can stay in situation. See, you see what I'm saying? You're not passing your judgment. How can things, begin to move in a new direction or begin to be renewed? How can the renewal phase even come when you're afraid to put death to things that you need to put death to, right? Because in a sense, that's passing judgment too. Like, look, you're not going to be treating me this way. I'm putting a death to that. You can do what you want to do with that, but and whether that person decides to, adjust or get their shit together or whatever they need to do, there's some type of change that happens, right? And there's a renewal that occurs for the person who are, in the right, in the high vibration of the end of it, right? There's a renewal of a cycle anyway, right? Because there's a getting rid of an energy that does not work. It's not working, right? It's not going to work. Yep, and then it said peacekeeper, let go of the need to be right. But this is also talking about like keeping your peace. Keeping your peace, not worrying about well shit, like I know this person, like you go, what the fuck do you feel? What do you feel? It says harness your mystic power. What do you feel intuitively about the situation? And do you own it and stand on it so that you can keep your peace? Or do you disregard it just to keep the peace with these toxic individuals? Keep yourself in an old cycle, or keep you in a cycle that's limiting or restrictive to your growth, your evolution, right? Or even their own, because you're the person, let's say you're the person who really is the divine judge, or you're given that ability or that permission from the Most High, and this is this could be a part of your interaction, your encounter with this person, right? Them experiencing that through you because you're wise. Look, we got winter, take care of your needs. So a lot of this energy can be going on this winter, or like as things get cold, right? It says grow within your current situation, wise one. Who's to say that you're not to be the one to really bring peace in by being that person to acknowledge the truth, that or to address the elephant in the room, to cause a renewal, a shift in the energy, opposed to people just becoming comfortable in that low vibration, or just accepting and tolerating and enabling a draining or a low vibrational force, right? Just so you can keep the peace with those people at the expense of your own peace. No, we're not doing that no more. We don't do that anymore. We're not doing it anymore. So it says, Sky Father, trust in the unknown. Trust in the unknown. So, a lot of things, I feel like thinking the worst of what the outcome will be. Look, we got snake, shed your skin, shed old skin. Think about how bad, look, unleash the wild within. She will. So this goes hand in hand. Shed old skin and unleash the wild within. What is the wild within? Harness the mystic power. What is your mystic power within? The unseen forces. What are unseen forces within? Your intuition, your discernment, your emotions, right? Your heart, the lie detector, your navigation system, right? You don't neglect that. It's not desired for us to neglect it, right? So we already understand that the snake represents Kundalini, right? Your Kundalini rising, your ultimate evolution, right? Being in alignment. Well, we got the high priest and the high priestess that came out. Intend and create, right? It can compromise your intentions and your creating abilities, like your drive and stuff like that, when you're not standing your truth, right? Or passing that judgment, whatever the case may be. So then we got make plans and focus, shield maiden, exchange energy and create abundance. Trader, trade. So let's say in this exchange of energy, you could have encountered a lot of people, especially if you're Libra, you got very dominant Libra energies or whatever, like in relationships. Libra is also the house of relationships, right? So this could be something that's like people are just this be going on or just very prominent at this time as well. In exchange, let's say somebody come to you and they got whatever they got going on, whatever ways of being or behaviors or that they've been going about, and let's say you are the swords, the queen of swords or the king of swords. You're that individual to basically cut that shit or nip that shit in the bud. Like, no, that's not going on here. That's not going on with me either. And then you being the catalyst of that person's evolution or renewal by you basically being behind that death, that ego death, right? To generate a birth or something better can be birthed from that, right? So contributing to shedding, helping to shed other people's skin and stuff, you know, or should shed old ways of being, existing, thinking, thought patterns, subconscious thoughts. So, and then we got love and let yourself be loved. So release the unknown, release what the outcome will be, and just know that as long as you honor your truth, right, you're moving out of truth. Your intentions is to be truth and to be fair, right, to establish balance. Don't worry about what the outcome will be. Just know that the outcome is going to be in your favor because your intentions behind it, see, is in favor of all involved, right? Is to try to bring the best possible outcome. So, ideally, everyone can, come out, better out of the situation. But we know that what comes with that, sometimes some people aren't. In most cases, there's going to be some people, they just going to fumble that experience or that invitation of evolution because whatever egoic blockages or remember, if you follow me on Facebook, I broke down ego, got emotions, and then go. So forward movement or an action or something like that. And how usually when you're about to do an action or do something new or something like that, emotions come up first as a result. And a lot of times those emotions can talk you out of whatever that action that you was going to, you was originally going to go forward with or whatever. And sometimes that's how the ego operates because the ego it can be very like fearful and survivalist mode type of shit, right? And as a result, it can be, it can be like pushing out this fear, emitting like this fearful energy from you because of the unknown, like not knowing the unknown or what could possibly happen compared to what you've already been comfortable in, right? But then that's like, that don't make sense. It's like when the baby's head started crying and coming out the pussy, why would you push the baby head back in the pussy? I don't think that feels that great. I don't think that makes sense for the baby head to come out and then you just be like, okay, you could take a break from even to breathe and shit like that. Take a break from pushing, right? But then once you get that, and then you go back pushing to get the rest of the baby out, get them shoulders out, get the rest of that body, the booty, the feet, all that shit out. But you're not about to push the baby back in. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? So how can you allow a birth, a new cycle to come in of evolution or an awakening, right? How can you allow new energy to come in when you're still trying to hold on to the old energy because motherfuckers that's contributing or dishing that energy out to you or whatever, they're the conduits of those low vibrations. They don't want you to judge them. Please don't judge me. Because a lot of times, energetically, spiritually, spiritually, people know what's up. People know what's up. Think about it. It reflects in childhood, it reflects in relationships, it reflects anything to do, it literally reflects throughout our entire life. And especially with the Most High, especially with our higher selves, right? So, it can get ugly before it gets beautiful. Sometimes that's what's necessary. Because you got two totally different people with two different backgrounds, upbringings, thoughts, beliefs, whatever the case may be. So there's going to be different. There's likely to be different. Is a spell. It's a spell. Please don't judge me. I won't judge you before it gets beautiful. So there's energies. I'm telling you, there's people like their higher selves or their energy or the entities that they're infiltrated with. They already understand this, and this is why so much magic, so much confusion is thrown, so much mind fuckery and scatteredness. This is why people resort to this ultimately because they're trying to prolong or delay the judgment, right? Passing judgment. And because, and that's why there's so much confusion around it and why it's been pushed so often or just misinterpreted. Please don't judge me. Only God can judge me. Only God can judge me. God can judge me. Okay, that's fine. But if we're made in the image and the likeness of the Most High, if we're supposed to have God within us and, if there's people who are qualified enough to be appointed as judges and this, that, and the third, what disowns you from your own right of passing judgment in your own personal life, especially spiritually? Because you can pass judgment and not have to lay a finger on a person and still basically offset justice or for you to receive justice in a situation or some type of death birth or renewal situation, right? So what I was getting to was, I feel like when people intentionally create confusion because it basically, to them, it puts them in a better predicament to delay accountability. For example, when people intentionally sow confusion to you, because it benefits them better to keep you in the dark opposed to you knowing the truth of the situation, that's a form of sorcery. That's a form of sorcery and abusing Neptunian energy, Mercury energy. So, like I said, this could have been just a heavy revelation for people, or very prominent for people who are still stuck in these type of karmic cycles of this energy here. So we got Messiah serving humanity with humility. Serving humanity with humility. So I feel like there's a confusion too of what it is to be considered humble when it comes to passing judgment as well, or just simply using your discernment and moving accordingly. You don't have to. I just want to be clear, like passing a judgment, your discernment, your intuition, and adjusting your life around a person or with people, with a person as a result is not. Doesn't basically look like you trying to control that person or force that person to submit to your will or your beliefs or this, that, or impose your beliefs on the person. That's not what that is. This is just talking about you honoring your own. You honoring your own and standing your ground, staying rooted and grounded, right? Instead of allowing whatever potential imbalance in that person to be internalized by you. You internalize that entity or that force, right? Which ultimately creates like indecisiveness, confusion, feeling ungrounded and imbalanced within you, and it's not even yours in the first place. Like you're simply just babysitting the energy, right? Because you think you're keeping the peace, but at what cost is what we have to ask ourselves. So what I just heard too, yeah, we got child divine. What I just heard too, some individuals, this is like the judgment that they're undergoing right now for basically mistreating those who were put in their lives to basically help contribute to some type of evolution or some type of ego deaths or deaths to some conflicting energies within that person, right? So friends, people not cherishing these kind of friends or their friends that are too honest or too real. You could be having people coming back around, cherishing those moments, or reflecting on those moments, or using you as like a guideline of the type of people they've encountered that they didn't really have solid, sound counsel within, and people evaluating why these houses or these situationships, these friendships, these whatever were unable to stand, and literally reflecting back on those people that they did have in their corner who provided honesty, just honesty, just their honest, perspective on a situation, opposed to cowering to people pleasing, just to supposedly keep the peace, even though they can see, outwardly from a higher perspective that it's creating some type of dysfunction or imbalance, right? So it's almost like it's literally like giving up your own portion of authority, or giving up your power, or giving over your power, right? And then if you give over your power, give up your power in a situation where you're meant to apply it accordingly, then you feel what? You feel disempowered. It was 44404 just now. So this could talk about how you just feel unstable, or what ultimately leads to instability in the home, right? Structure, lack of structure. So that's what I'm getting to. So I'm channeling Saturn energy, heavy. So this Saturn and Aquarius energy, and this Capricornic energy too. So remember how I kept getting out father, grandfather, paternal energy, the authoritative energy, right? That's why the High Priest also came out as well. Intend and create. What are your intentions, and what are you trying to create? So 4444 again. So heavy emphasis on 444. So this is definitely talking about bringing structure by having truth, as what is it called when you're building a home, and you basically, like, the base of your home, the foundation needs to be on truth in order for this house to not only stand but be able to withstand, like, renewal or additions or whatever. You know how people build onto their house and stuff like that. And you can tell when houses are built on faulty foundations, they don't really last long. Or when a storm or extreme storm comes in, which could be an emotional storm, right? It's all interconnected. Let's say there's an emotional storm that comes through, and if there's been a faulty foundation that this house was built on, it's unlikely to stand. So once again, even some of your friends, your old friends and stuff like that, where you was that person in their corner, they could be reflecting, or being, like, having, like, deep epiphanies and revelations on how it was like to actually have somebody that genuine in their lives, and how they basically fumbled that because they had to go through a cycle of people who was passive, who was sugar coaty, who was, whatever, people pleasing, like the type of shit, the type of friends that'll let you go out looking a goddamn mess. They know you look a mess, right? But you think you feeling yourself or whatever, like, and they're not being honest with you. Or decisions that you're making where you could be moving recklessly or whatever, out of a lack of, I don't know, like, you can just have some type of imbalance going on, and you're just not acting out of the best judgment. Like, think about when the Most High, or when the Most High talks about a drunken spirit and being sober minded, right? So that's what I'm getting here too. Heavy emphasis on who's sober minded and who's still, frolicking around with this drunken way of thinking, right? So we got Samaritan, but it came out reverse, right? So this trying to, be the good Samaritan type shit by thinking that, you it's better to just allow that energy to go on. Like, now, of course, if you can remove yourself and, let that energy, and let whomever else is willing to tolerate that shit. But when you're put in position as a divine child, right, in this situation, just because everybody else is doing the thing, don't mean you're supposed to be moving like everybody else, right? And if you choose to move like everybody else, that's ultimately choosing to share a portion of those people's karma too, right? So somebody has to be the, somebody has to. I can't even think of the word right now. What does it say? So the light attribute of Samaritan refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore, and then the shadow attribute is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer, and this came out reverse. Exacting appreciation for the help you offer. So this is giving me, like, the energy, an insincere energy of help and generosity, and that's what we don't need. That's what we don't need. What are people's intentions behind it, and what are they trying to create? Are they trying to create a situation to make you feel more inferior in the situation, right? What are their intentions behind that? Are they trying to abuse their authority or their power, their influence at your current vulnerable state, right? Or at a place of vulnerability, when you're in a place of vulnerability, right? So basically, people just, you have some people, for those of you who are divine, you have some people reflecting on how like solid you are, right? You can even be having some people trying to come back around because of how solid you are, and how solid other people they have found not to be, right? And then people are understanding the need and necessity of those type of energies in your life to contribute to growth and evolution. Think about those people who hang in packs of friends where there's nobody's really, like, utilizing discernment and judgment like that, and everybody's very passive. They're afraid to tell each other the truth and stuff, and so they just enable each other's toxic behaviors and stuff like that, and just babysit it. Little vampires, groups of vampires. It says, makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force, right? They're not making each other aware that something or someone is draining their life force. They're kind of just going with the flow, or getting into more things to drain them further, right? See, we don't need them type of friends. Those are not friends, right? That's why we have friends, relationships, and throat chakra come out first. I'm gonna read this friends card. It says this card is an indication that the person who is facilitating spiritual attacks on you is a current or former friend. This could also indicate one or more of your friends is facilitating the attack, or the attackers are connected to or being recruited by your friends. So there's some people who are realizing this with their friends, or you realize this with your friends. And this is the thing, being more selective. Why you should be more selective, and respect your own energy when it comes to who you choose to keep giving your energy to or allow access to you, right? So these things needing to happen as well. We got third eye and throat chakra. So seeing beneath the surface of things, and not being afraid to express those things that typically people would rather prefer to ignore, just like the Samaritan card, right? Because there's this confusion of what keeping the peace actually means, and is how are you keeping your, how are you a peacekeeper? How can you be a peacekeeper when you're being too dismissive and it's literally at the expense of cost of your own peace ultimately, right? That's ultimately not keeping the peace thing. And then we got mediation here. But I wish you guys, if you can see this mediation card, if you can see this mediation card, you would see there's like this swirl and these like zigzags or whatever coming from this person's head, and it makes me think about confusion, mental fog, psychic blocks, right? Because you're literally in internal conflict, or gathering internal conflict from whether you should follow your gut feeling in a situation, or revoke it, or hold it back, or delay, or suppress it at the expense of somebody else, or to appease somebody's insecurities, or their emotions, or their lack of maturity, or lack of accountability, right, in that moment. So some of you may need to seek out a trained practitioner, or just seek out others who are like you, or just seek that out, like maybe on social media, or being guided, or coming in alignment with people like that to give you clarity and confirmation that, hey, there's nothing wrong with you being that way. You're meant to be that way, right? Actually, you utilizing that energy, with confidence, also contributes to bringing the outcomes that you do desire ultimately, even though the first thought is, damn, I don't want to disrupt peace temporarily in order to reestablish a greater peace, right? Alright, so we got mediation is the practice of seeking out a trained practitioner to assist in communication with the ancestral realms for more specific messages and guidance. Mediation work also includes working with higher level ascended masters to support your ancestors in transitioning into a higher vibratory state. And that's why I was seeing that card, move beyond ancestral patterns. Moving beyond ancestral patterns here of the heart, tears of the heart. So allowing your heart to be ripped apart in situations, just because that I don't judge, only God can judge. Okay. But God is within you, right? Now, I'm pretty sure we know the difference by now, whether somebody is abusing, a judgmental energy or not, right? Being able to evaluate and identify people's intentions and the energy behind their words, because words carry frequency. I don't care. Their words, even positive words, can carry different frequencies or lower vibrational frequencies, right? So you have to feel. You have to be fully present when you're communicating. I keep seeing a lot of fours. 444. 444. Relationships again, bro. Relationships and third eye. And then we got trauma transmutation. So there should be an energy of trauma being transmuted in your connections, like, through people, through y'all being able to be honest with each other, basically, right? We got holes and restrictions. Holes vary from tears and blocks in the sense that they are designed to steal energy versus alter it. It includes reducing protection and harvesting energy through narcissistic tactics and energy cores. So what does abusing your authority, your masculine energy, your judgment in a low vibration looks like? It can look like narcissistic energy or tendencies, narcissistic personalities, people who understand that they have somewhat of a power, influence, or effect, impact on a person. And so instead of, using that, like, I know this person, they really value what I say, they highly respect me, and so I have a strong enough influence to influence this person for the better, right? Or to move away from things that are unhealthy, that are ultimately unhealthy from them. By me leading by example, or when they come to me, I'm the person that's talking different from the people that they used to, right? To basically bring structure and bring them balance and counsel, or whatever, right? I'm that individual. But when you're neglecting that aspect of yourself, right? It's like, you see how this is just a circle of arrows, and it's just a continuation, right? This is why a lot of times we can pick up confusion and that type of energy or feeling imbalance off people, because we're withholding or delaying or suppressing passing judgment in a situation. So once again, please don't judge me, I won't judge you. It can get ugly before it gets beautiful. Sometimes it has to get ugly before it gets beautiful. Now, I'm not sitting here talking about abuse and somebody beating the hell out of you and all that type of shit. I'm not talking about that, right? So once again, like I said before, we're past understanding, or most of us, especially those who are divine, we're past understanding how to read energy behind what the hell people do in their intentions, the actions that they take, the things that they say, right? So we got night. It says loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. So something here about you being an honorary friend because of your honesty. Honesty and truth bring structure, even if a person is not fully aware altogether what their truth is, but they're still in an energy of trying to embody that, and not allowing anyone to, like, basically disrupt that or stop them from doing so. Because we also have destroyer and teacher. We got teacher, destroyer, knight. So also, I'm just getting just heavy emphasis on how this defeats entities that kind of just it plays off the ego as well, with people that keeps people in situations or keep them from growing, right? And this is why we see a lot of, or we have this phrase of people being adult children and this, that, and the third, right? Or people being stuck in a psychological age where the trauma was first inflicted upon them. So for again, for a lot of us, oh wow, so what I'm getting to, for some people this is there's a direct connection with your actual father figure, or the guardian, the male guardian in your bloodline, that also impacts why you. And it's just like the lady in the trees of peace, right? Because her dad was a pastor, but he was also a rapist. But because he was a pastor, and the confusion that it created, right? The Most High, so that we got reversal in relationships. So something about these people, this energy reversing that's not yours. But you have to basically own that it's not yours, and not fucking babysit that shit, or keep it, or hold on to it for them, just to keep them, just to keep the peace for them, or just help them feel more peaceful or acceptable. You can't do that. Can't do that. Why? Because that'll cause freezes and delays in your own evolution and growth, right? So I'm about to say, yeah, because we got grandfather here again. So it says grandfathers represent the patriarch order, masculine dominance, and rites of passage involving the passing down of tradition regarding leadership. So this is talk about being leaders as well. You can't be a leader if you don't have good judgment, right? How can you be a leader if you're not willing to pass judgment? So now I'm channeling, what's his name? I'm channeling Judas and the Black Messiah. God, what is his name? Basically, what was his name? It's not coming to me right now. But the leader, who was considered the Black Messiah in the movie, right? The Black Panther. If he didn't exercise his judgment righteously, right, or from a fair place or being fair, and even though he was a Black Panther and stuff like that, and it was about Black liberation and protection of people in the Hispanic community, he still made bonds with people outside of the community because ultimately the goal and the intention was to create balance and fairness, right? So only true leaders, if you can't be a true leader, or you can't expect, for the Most High to grant you a position of leadership if you're afraid to pass judgment because you're worried about, hurting somebody's feelings or I don't know, right? Look, we got block. Now, of course, you just don't intentionally abuse what and shit like that to hurt people's feelings unnecessarily. But sometimes you do have to burst people's bubbles. That's a part of it. That's a part of being a real friend, right? Providing them a different perspective, right, from whatever they've been going by or going off of, just to give them more perspective to a situation. So we got, friends and block. Excuse me. And also, even with the guy who ultimately undermining him and, turned against them and stuff like that, setting them up, their discernment was going off even with him. And paying attention to bodily cues and how he was moving, his mindset, his mentality and stuff like that. Sometimes, these are warnings for us to pay attention to, and we're supposed to pass judgment on that and move accordingly, right? So we can avoid disasters for an ultimately greater group, right? Or something that's just bigger, right? Bigger, that's the goal. What is the entity's goal of that person? So this is also talking about having courage. Are you walking in courage, acting out of courage in order to do this, right? You can tell who has courage and who doesn't, depending on who's, being too passive or overly passive, just allowing things to be as it is, even though, it's creating unnecessary destruction, right, and deterioration. So ultimately, it can also come down to, are you acting out of fear or are you acting out of courage? We keep getting blockages, and then we got blockages, right? This creating blockages in your path, oh my God. So it says, this indicates that the warfare against you is designed to manifest an energetic blockage within your energy field, therefore creating blockages in your spiritual life and material life. Right. So we got a teacher, and to be a true advocate, right? But not advocating things that are just unhealthy or victimization, people who want to be in their victim mindsets or victim mentalities and stuff like that, not feeding into that or allowing your life force to be drained because that's what feels most comfortable for them at that time, and they just fear growth and evolution. Not internalize these energies anymore, right? Especially when you know your intentions. You weigh your intentions and you move accordingly for that. Let that be your peace. So it says, teacher, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. These are the kind of friends, these type of relationships we want. This kind of person we want to be and show up as, right? Because this is what makes you a true advocate, right? Communicating knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom inspires you to put compassion into action. This is the advocate card and the teacher card. And then we got destroyer, releasing what is potentially destructive, preparing for new life. What is potentially destructive and preparing for new life. And if you don't have people who are not willing to do that in their own lives, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? It's going to be a problem. People say, how there's a phrase, you are the company you keep. Ultimately, basically it's saying, soul ties. Soul ties don't just, it's not just your parents and your siblings, your blood siblings, or people that you are sexually intimate with. It's whom you establish an emotional bond with in general. That's a soul tie, right? Meaning you can be influenced. That person has somewhat of a power, influence in your life, or an impact in your life, right? So if they're choosing to stay in lower vibratory states, right, that can ultimately that can affect you, right? So we got monk nun, selfless devotion and single-minded dedication to spirit. So in a sense, this was a part of deepening this connection to spirit as well. Having to undergo these situations where there was a lack of sound counsel, right? So getting that counsel from the Most High, from your spirit guides, your ancestors. So that's why we also have mediation. So for anybody that's feeling that way, we understand that we can always go to the unseen realm or to our higher selves to restore, regenerate that back. Because ultimately, we know we are like the person who's willing to tell the truth in a situation. We're willing to stand our ground. We're willing to be honest with people because we genuinely give a fuck, right? We're not about to sit there and just act like, and just watch people destroy themselves. If you claim you care about them, you have compassion for them, and you have some type of influence and access, they come to you. You know what I'm saying? And they open that door for you to, bear some type of influence to them, right? You don't just be enablers like everybody else that's keeping that person in that same energy. You don't be that. Even if it does mean, a temporary separation, a temporary imbalance, right? In order to generate balance, in order to generate peace or a renewal, there needs to be a shedding, an ego death of something, energy that's not working, right? That's blocking growth. Period. You have to shed that. And it's not based on if the other person is willing to shed it at that moment or not. Eventually you're gonna have to, or be pulled down and deteriorated with them. So that's just what it comes down to. That's why we have hermit here. We have hermit and then we have victim. So we got seek solitude to focus intently on inner life, serves personal creativity. And then we got shadow attributes of the hermit is withdrawing from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. So, you can, this is something that people tend to do, and they could be in a room full of motherfuckers, bro. They could be around these people and everything, and they would go into hermit mode within themselves while they're in that room on a situation that they just feel they feel anxiety, or get anxiety or fear of what the outcome could be, or something negative occurring from them just simply being honest in the situation. And so they'll just go along with it, even though it's just causing more destruction internally for them, or confusion and this, that, and the third, imbalance, lack of structure, right? See, that's why you should not be doing that. And then ultimately it comes down to not only refusing to help those in need, like by you just being that person to provide something different, from what they're used to, but it's like you're also neglecting helping yourself, in a sense. You're neglecting your own needs. That's why one of the cards that came out in the Angels deck and Ancestors, it said, take care of your needs. Wintertime is when hermit mode really gets triggered in a lot of people because it's cold, so naturally you're inside more and stuff like that. You're having to really face yourself, right? So I don't know, maybe this is just like an energy right now. So we got a poet expresses soul insights in symbolic language. And then victim prevents you from letting yourself be victimized or victimizing others. So preventing you standing your ground, having courage to speak your truth in a situation, or to own your truth, move accordingly to what your truth is or what feels best for you in the situation, right? Prevents you from allowing others to victimize you as well. another thing you'll be seeing too, for people who still remain in these situations and they were delaying these growths or growing apart from people, because sometimes a part of that is growing apart from others or being removed from situations, removing yourself from certain people sooner than later, or just in time, like, or before destruction really comes down, because that's what that person is bringing or rearing in their life, because they're staying in that energy, right? Something about this energy, being able to see this manifest, or how it's manifesting in people who was I don't know, like just delaying that accountability, that maturity, right? And so seeing group conflict, or just how it manifests in its worst forms, I'm sorry, like that's an energy that's going to be happening as well. But of course, if for those of us who we understand the importance of boundaries, and not forcing yourself or punishing yourself by forcing yourself to remain in situations where it's destructive to you. Shit, you're watching it destroy the people that's in it, right? And it's so crazy. Like, I came across a video. I came across a video of an artist or whatever contemplating suicide. And I know now, I know this is a touchy topic, but my thing is, I know how messy this person is, or what they present to us, and because they're just one of those people that they want clout, right? So a lot of their messiness is just all out there, but there's not really any evidence of this person evolving from the situation or growing, learning from the situation, right? So something about us, just seeing displays of this. Look, we got Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles, the world. So some cycles closing out here. Look, then we got Seven of Pentacles, delusion, sneaky energy, right? Deceptive energy. Oh my God. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. Yeah, we got Three of Cups, Two of Swords, the Ace of Swords, so the truth factor here. We got Aquarius energy here, heavy. Saturn energy is heavy here. Uranus, changes involving this energy here, like, and wow. Anyway, but for those of you who follow accordingly, right, moving accordingly, divinely so, using your discernment, right, and standing your ground. Something about a new cycle, a new cycle, positive cycle coming in here. But it's a lot of swords here, though. It's a lot of swords here. So this could be reflected in people's finances, people not willing to pass sound judgment and counsel just because they want to stay in a situation of being able to reap materially with a person or from an organization or a group or something like that. So them neglecting their truth and their own discernment, giving up their own power, becoming disempowered because of things, and literally realizing how these things is like it's not a solid enough foundation, basically. So let's say, because things come, I'm hearing people come and they go, that's just the way how it goes. But I'm hearing like about stuff, situations, right? Ways of living and existing, seasons, right? Coming and going. Like, you can have a season of abundance, you can have a season of, like, you need to chill your ass out, or things are just not moving as fast or something like that. Like, it's like, what I'm saying? That type of energy here. And for those people who base their foundation in things that are not, it's not solid, it's unwavering. It's kind of like the pigs and the wolves, the houses. You got the brick house, you got the hay, you got the stick house, right? But people who built, these faulty foundations with these friends who were not courageous enough to tell each other the truth, or, just, I don't know, just so they can reap from some type of leisure or fun, or I really don't know, bro. Like, something along those lines. That's why we always see
when that person loses that shit, and it's like you find out who your friends really are, like who's really there, who's really for you, and who's not, right? So something about this energy going on too. About sometimes it takes for you to lose, shit for you to really see like who's really solid. Okay, that's sometimes. But there's some healing here too. There's some healing here too. Or this could talk about you healing yourself by owning your truth here. Like it kind of just shatters like all illusions. So we got father and dream recall. Something about you, about your dreams. Something about your dreams regarding this energy here. Or you could have been having dreams about this energy or warnings or like something symbolic to it, right? About shedding old skin, shedding skins, sneaky, shisty energy, or just energy that's unnecessarily confusing, and literally just that energy within itself. That energy, the energies that you identify as problematic, it's literally like a plant, right? Like you'll snip off like the dead leaves, but you keep everything else intact, right? But it's contributing to the betterment of the entire plant. And it also makes me think about this other video I saw earlier of this lady. She was talking about a talk she had with her uncle and just his relationship with her aunt, and how basically he used to be hard-headed and stuff like that, and something about, but she wasn't the type to just let anything fly like with her and shit, and like she really like held her ground. She was just that type of person, and she stood solid in that. We keep getting throat chakra here. She stood solid in that, and eventually he had to be act out of his feminine energy in the high vibration and submit to that there is some things he needs to work on, right? That he can't keep doing something a certain way and not expecting some type of consequence for that, right? So what I'm getting here too is people are finding out that easy, like that being easy shit, like they thought that they was like I don't know, like there's just some people, some girls, some people here who's having like a harsh realization of what being easy and being passive and disregarding, your truth and stuff like that, what it can lead to, and just how you just, oh man, how am I trying to say this? In a lot of situations, people don't respect that. People don't respect you not having self-respect for yourself, integrity, dignity, to a degree that you don't allow just anything to fly. Like deep, spiritually deep down, like it's I don't know. People just don't really respect that shit, bro. Even though it may seem like it's keeping the peace, and you still get to have sex with this person, benefit from this person's money, or I don't know, from this person's popularity, what they have, at the cost of like giving up your self-respect, and then your self-esteem all fucked up, and then when they get around somebody who does own their shit, they really have a healthy confidence or sense of self. People wonder why they ditch, the person who doesn't have self-respect for that person, right? Or trying to pursue or prove themselves to the person who does have self-respect, who's not going to tolerate or just let any and everything go, right? We got child eternal. So I keep hearing you're made in the likeness of the Most High, fearfully and wonderfully made, fearfully and wonderfully made. 505. Fearfully and wonderfully made. Right? People should not feel too comfortable disrespecting you. Period. Period. So when people know that you just not the type of person that's just gonna like just tolerate anything, that creates a fear. But it's not a fear like you're a bully or shit like that. It's almost like when you fear the Most High, like or you fear like judgment, because because you feel like you did an unjust act, or whatever the case may be, right? You reap what you sow, period. So it's almost like when people have a guilty conscience. So I'm thinking about Judas and the Black Messiah again. Like, even though he did that, he got his money, he got whatever from the police, whatever the fuck, because he made his foundation, his base, his intent behind it was money, right? It wasn't based on anything morale or the virtues of the spirit. So basically, because it wasn't based on anything really solid, it didn't. At the end of it all, it wasn't able to uphold him, right? Because it was an illusion. But how he was having all these nightmares and guilty conscience, and he didn't have peace. He couldn't even live in peace because he knew he was a traitor, right? So something about this energy here. So fuck it. I seen a video of Ray J contemplating suicide possibly or whatever, but I'm just getting the energy of like those guilty consciences are like, I don't know, something about like just that energy being emphasized. Consciousness being emphasized. We got seeker. This is to trigger these people to seek resolution of themselves or within their own souls or with the Most High, right? Or repentance or some type of resolve of the spirit, right? We got thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. This is also talking about those who are divine here or operating out of this their divine power. A thirst for wisdom and truth wherever they are. Then we got thief. Sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Your discernment. The potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. So I'm also getting people, learning what cost comes from neglecting your internal wealths, right? Because of being distracted with external wealths or what they deem as that or as so. So I'm thinking about Judas in the movie, the guy who's regarded as Judas in the movie, and how even though he chose a route that was very low vibrational, he couldn't turn off his spiritual wealth, his inner gifts, which was his discernment. He was having dreams. So these are all like spiritual gifts that we all have. It can either like be torturous to you, or it can create like, it can be relieving for you, right? Depending on how you're operating with that energy. So sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen, whether you're choosing to operate out of, this high vibration or low vibration. And then the shadow attribute, we got stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. So he was undermining these people, and there was even moments in the movie where he was... the love was so strong that the burden of wanting to act out of that divine energy or his higher self, like it was very strong, because he knew the energy that he was working with was genuine. Like, I'm really betraying, very genuine like leadership and like energies here, who are, their intentions are for a good cause and mine isn't, right? But instead of, shedding that old skin, like, I'm not doing that shit anymore because it brings me torture, and, I have no peace when I'm operating in that energy, opposed to acknowledging the peace that you get when you do, operate out of your higher self, right? Or in a more righteous way that's fair to others, right? Instead of neglecting that. So even being put in situations throughout our lives or whatever, so that we can go off how we feel in a situation, not how people think we should feel about it, and move according to what they feel, you should do. But like literally using your feelings or your emotions as navigators of how you should conduct yourself in a situation. Like for example, I remember I was just talking about how um for me, going out and stuff like that, I'm very, very selective with that. I'm not against, going out, hanging out, partying and shit, but I'm very selective with it because in the situations that I have gone out, I've been in situations where my goddamn high priestess ass, will pick up on some shit that everybody else, they kind of just lost in the sauce and shit. Nobody really thinking much about it. But I would pick up on an energy there that wasn't a safe energy. And like I was telling my boyfriend about how a situation I was in where we ended up, it ended up being a robbery, all type of shit. And even though most of the people there, they had good intentions to just enjoy themselves, there were still people who came in there like entities who tried to come and infiltrate because there was like people was in vulnerable or making themselves vulnerable, putting themselves in vulnerable states. Like for example, drinking, getting drunk, high, whatever the case may be. And how if I didn't say anything in that situation, who knows if it would have turned out the way that it did or if it would have turned out worse. And even though everybody else was just like, oh, chill, 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 my energy would not relax or chill. And I couldn't ignore it. Like, it was going off, my indicators was going off in me so goddamn bad. I couldn't ignore the shit even if I want to. It was going off so bad, I had to remove myself from the environment in totality because just to try to calm myself down because I'm like, yo, like I'm picking up on this energy, but it don't really seem like anybody else is picking up on this shit, right? So something about sometimes you'll be in situations like that where you still have to trust, like you have to trust what you feel, right? You have to trust what you feel. Light attributes: dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower and strength of spirit. To avenge yourself, we also have avenger, or to avenge others. We got desire to balance the scales of justice, righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. So I'm getting something about practice. I'm hearing practice. I'm hearing expertise. I'm hearing that shit. This athleticism in spirit, like a athletic spirit. So training the spirit as well. Like that's a part of. Oh my God, you know how there's like Olympics for your physical bodies. There's Olympics for the spirit. That's what I'm hearing. We got artists expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. And then we got networker, enhances unity through the sharing of information, engenders social awareness and empathy. So being very empathic and, instead of, we know that our empathy is a gift, but, a lot of times people get caught in this victim shit of demonizing their empathic abilities because of so many interactions with narcissistic personalities, right? But it's really a superpower. And not for you to just succumb to the narcissistic's power or influence when you know that it's unjust, right? But for you to set an example or remove your energy, speak your truth, whatever, and follow through with it instead of internalizing this person's need for you to be confused about them so that they can stay in whatever energy that's trying to keep them there. Because a lot of times we think that it's just the person who wants to stay there. 80% of the time, it is. The rest is like entities that they've opened themselves up to, expose themselves up to, right? And it can be through their habits, their lifestyle choices, whatever. It could be through portals, right? We have to be careful with portals, like the shit that you watch, right? There's always energies trying to infiltrate your vessel. Some people have that wisdom and that knowledge, some people don't. Some of you have that wisdom and knowledge, and another thing that you're supposed to do, right, with exchanging as a teacher, right, exchanging wisdom, knowledge, skills, and stuff like that, is to give that, just to bring that awareness to those people, right, or to someone or that person. But a lot of that comes from you honoring your own. applying it in your own life. So we got beggar. This fell to the floor here. So something about shamefulness, something about energies feeling shameful. But even shame can be a teacher. That's what I'm hearing. It says confronts empowerment at the level of physical survival, awakens the spiritual authority of humility, compassion, and self-esteem. And then the shadow attribute is dependence on others to the exclusion of effort. So dependence on others to be enablers, to exclude their accountability, right? To exclude that challenge, that iron sharpening iron type shit. There's what's the other thing? Other saying. I can't think what that metal or what that what it's called. But something about trying to put something on iron to mimic it, but once water weighs, when water hits it, when it gets weighed down with water, so emotional storms, emotional energy, right? When it's time to utilize discernment, when it's time to acknowledge and identify what's being produced or reproduced or being created, especially if it's something destructive being created, right? Or blockages being created, right? When it's time to acknowledge that, how you'll see how weak, or just unreliable some people are in these situations, or them, being forced to see themselves and how they need to strengthen themselves or where they need to improve. But anyway, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. But yeah, because I've always felt like internal conflict about that. People be saying that, only God can judge, only God can judge. And to an extent, yes, that's true. But people don't be clear. People don't be clear enough for me, for all the confusion that's launched against us intentionally to keep us confused about our spiritual potential, right? And just how much power and influence we have over our lives, and because a lot of that has a lot to do with manifestation, what you manifest for yourself. So it just never sat right with me, with people not being totally clear about that. Some of you guys, like, maybe you can be very expressive or like descriptive, like naturally or whatever, and that's with the intent to be very clear with people, and maybe you could have been around energies that try to make you feel bad about that, right? But that's your gift. That's who the Most High has you to be intentionally, right? And sometimes that's the point, like, for you to be that force, right? To be that catalyst of divinity or balance in the situation, right? It's almost like, think about scales, and you got people on this scale, you got people okay, this is scale, and you got people or energies on both scales, and you're somebody who can see it. You can see the imbalance, and you can see what can help create more balance in the situation. And so you just simply speak up, right, with courage, and you offer that wisdom, you exchange that information, right? You don't sit there and you don't just shut up or turn that gift off or suppress it indefinitely. Just look, do not bow down to men. Do not bow down to men. You don't turn that shit off just because some people aren't strong enough or willing to be receptive to those energies or to grow. Look, because we got war, Mars. So yeah, people trying to war with you, in return and stuff like that. You don't allow your spirit to be forced into submission here, under that. But removing yourself, yeah. We got purgatory and thutmose, purgatory. So you don't have to share purgatory with these people, or you don't have to share that energy. You don't give up, you don't give up your soul tie with the Most High, and literally that energy operating through you or just vibrating in you so strongly so that you can be protected ultimately. right? So like I said, when I was in that situation, my senses was going the fuck off, even though everybody else was so chill because their inhibitors were kind of like compromised because they were drunk. But I was still sober minded in the situation. Look, we got evil eye, evil eye. Then we got the purge, so purging the evil eye. Or people are feeling like you're gonna see people who are literally like living in their purgatory, or look, death, being banished because they want to stay or remain in these energies here. Or this could also just represent death to the ego, right? This could be physical deaths, it could be ego deaths. We got extreme weather conditions, and it came out reverse. So something about those, those who are on their path or whatever, you being spared from these extreme conditions here. We got the age of Aquarius. So this was predestined. This is predestined. Then we got the chopping block, the loss of consciousness, death, etc. But this came out reverse. So something about you could have even had energies to try to cause you to trick yourself into being on the chopping block or losing your consciousness, your sense of consciousness, your confidence in, being able to recognize the truth of what's fair, what's just in a situation, just to appease them or appease tradition or whatever the case may be, right? But something about you being spared from this because you honored your truth. Yeah, trying to get you to give up your birthright here. Yep, we got serpent power and life force reversed. So it's, what's that card? That card that says something about being able to recognize what's draining your life force or whatever, or the source of it. And we got casted out. So yeah, there's some individuals, like there's some people here who are like casted out from this energy. Look, running out of time. Running out of time. Or something about you casting out these energies, or some people are running out of time with your energy if they whatever. Running out of time to stay in this old ass vibration, or this low vibration, because there's literally a shift that's taking place. So we was in the age of Pisces. Pisces is Neptunian energy, so there is, it's more sensitive to illusions and delusional energy and fantasy, dreams, that type of energy, right? But it's also an energy that represents love. So think about like a lot of confusion around love that a lot of people have been moving out of in the age of Aquarius, right? It's the difference. Then we got Earth's core. But I'm hearing something about our core, like something about this being reflected within us, our core, right? Not just your body, but your internal self. So I got a card here that says goes against the Most High, and I'm hearing two different things. Yeah, provoking you. Look, to provoke you. So I'm even hearing with parents, how people always say honor your mother and father, and da 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 da. But it also says where this is not regurgitated as much as that other statement. Do not provoke your children. Do not provoke people without a cause. Right? So people who are in this energy, this goes against the Most High. They're running out of time. They're being casted out. Some people are experiencing deaths. This was the cause of some people's deaths. Some people are undergoing ego deaths depending on if they choose to avenge themselves or not. Right? And utilize their willpower, rightfully so, for their highest good. I think I just saw a Libra. Then we got Sagittarius. So this could be a Libra and Sagittarius, or this could just talk about philosophies, or this whole like melting pot of religious traditional beliefs, unstructured or imbalanced ways, or unaligned ideals surrounding love, loyalty, counsel, friendships, whatever, right? Something about this energy. So we got wrath. So something about trying to avoid or delay wrath. And we got North Node. Labor of love reverse. It can get ugly before it gets beautiful. Sometimes it has to get ugly. So that wrath reverse, that's just, it's giving me just more emphasis on trying to delay your wrath, to delay their judgment in the situation, or yeah. So I'm just hearing like a breakdown of like a lot of psychic blocks, restrictions and limitations, especially like how it's connected like psychically and spiritually, like that psychic spiritual connection thing. Yeah, Capricorn. Because of this destruction caused by this abuse of this patriarchal energy or this masculine energy, right? The 10th house. Ooh, what happened to my So this could be being reflected in workplaces, the home, government, buildings, and the law, courts. The courts. We got outer environment, public life, social status, ambition, parents, career, trade, or profession. What I say, recognition, authority figures. So this is the 10th house, so heavy emphasis on this energy right now. It says their hearts are reproaching them. Their hearts are reproaching them. So people literally being held accountable by their own hearts at this point. What they feel, and realizing they're following of false gods and neglecting their own spiritual, their spiritual authority. It says they have lost control over the situation. So people are losing control over, whatever false foundation or structure that they had established here to keep up whatever, version of themselves that they was trying to prolong past its existence, right? Its extinction period. We got implementing elevation, but then we have false gods here. Implementing elevation and being and caring more so about. So this is talking about us too, caring more so about being innocent in God's eyes, and people need to be more concerned about that, right? You are cosmological, and then we got faith in me. Faith in me. Something about individuals having faith in you, or something about wanting, I don't know, it's something about that energy. Of course, having faith in the Most High, but I'm hearing like something about faith in a person, or I don't know, that type of energy. You can have faith in a person, but that don't mean you're going to tolerate disrespect. It says they don't believe in me and they don't want you to either. Their hearts are hardened and yours is tender and alive. So people can be aware, be aware of God and stuff like that. But depending on how they live and how they choose to, utilize their willpower and shit, really says a lot whether they know God or not. Whether they know that energy, whether they really know them higher selves enough to trust acting and living out of their higher selves, or that divinity, right? And we got third house, so this could be with siblings as well. All right, but definitely love, magician energy as well, abuse of magic to prolong this shit. Okay, it says communication, siblings, short journeys, learning, immediate environment, neighbors, manner of speech. Something about schools here as well, or the education system. Then we got exorcism. So yeah, something about the education system is contributing to this energy as well. People feeling disempowered or not operating out of their power, right? yeah, trying to turn people or create this energy of cold heart, or encourage this energy of coldness or being cold hearted, closed off to this type of thing here. You got Amun Ra, and then ultimately hurting those who really care about you, and then hurting yourself. Losing loved ones to violence as karma for evil deeds. So we got a Scorpio here. This could be, so the energies, the signs that came out was Libra, Sag, Gemini, and Scorpios, and Capricorn. So something about playing that devil's advocate shit, yeah. Playing devil's advocate, falling through. Something about that energy. Especially with those who are chosen, like, you know, like, so you just playing unnecessary, you're trying to provoke the person. Yeah, it says the Most High is angry. This could be a Cancer as well for some of you. Or something about these energies, these old energies being a Cancer to you, to your spirit, to your body. Look, waiting in vain. They will not be spared. They will not be spared. Cancer. The home and ancestral line is what the 4th house represents. Home, parents, childhood, inherited patterns, family, environment, upbringing, in the womb space. The second brain. We got animals under unnecessary restriction, murder, slavery, judgment for maltreatment. Pay attention to the weather. So look, we got destroy. So this is not just exclusive to, you know, us, one another, humans, but this is talking about the judgment passed on, like how we treat animals as well. Yo, blasphemy. So there's a lot of things that's been put in place, even with how we show up to the animal kingdom, you know, which is, you know, ultimately that's our family too, right? Yeah, we also have tree ancestors. Something about King Tut is here. It says the price of wisdom is above rubies. And then we got the Most High is the real big homie, but for a lot of people, that was not the case. That was not the case. Look, and so as a result, they don't have resurrection power. They don't have enough power to, you know, pull themselves out of, you know, these situations. And so that's why there's this cycle of feeling like they need to either rebel or keep the person in the dark to an extent so that they can, you know, pull off their power to boost themselves back up, right? It says they do not have faith. So this is regarding the faithless. The faithless. They don't have faith in you, don't have faith in themselves nor God. Look, it says they forgot God. They forgot God. So they having until time here trying to, you know, come up from whatever this setback is. Or this fall. Because of pride. So a great fall here. People there's people that's either in their great fall, moving into their great fall here. Yep. All those cards just fell out my hand, bro. That's crazy. It says there's some things only God knows that you've never told anyone else. But that's the thing. You don't even have to tell someone else. You know, you don't have to tell a person everything. But that's the thing. But they still was not talking to God about it either. So they was trying to escape, you know, or people being like in escapism attitudes or behaviors. More often than not. It says you never have to do it their way. Blazing new paths with the divine. So this is what we had to come to learn too. Instead of trying to keep the peace at the expense of our own. It says life, death, life, nature cycle. That's just the way it is. That's what I'm hearing. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah. So we got the dark. So oh my God. So this is what they was talking about with winter, bro. We got dark ages, and then we also have dark arts. Turn from wickedness, reject evil, and do good. Implement the truth, love, justice, balance, and integrity. Whoa. So okay. Something about you could be something about you or these people, like I was saying earlier, like your friends and stuff like that, reflecting on funny, wholesome, healthy childhood memories with you, but not, not just that, but how better it feels with people who are genuine and sincere in your corner, who actually care about you to tell you the truth, right? Something about your old friends reflecting on this. It says you were poisoned by enemies. Reflect on your strength and the miracles of God. No weapon formed against my child shall prosper. Yep. So we got The Walking Dead. Something about you realizing, or seeing these people like literally give up their life for so much so that, they're inhabited with entities. Because we got The Walking Dead. Dying by their own devices. That's because they're not being ran by a high vibrational force, or they're not being guided by they're being guided by something very dark and low vibrational. And some of them could think that they actually do have some connection with God, but no. Some of them could just be claiming that because of their whatever, the tradition of society or their family, whatever. But it's not sincere because it will reflect in their own lives, right? It says, consult with the Most High for clarity regarding counsel, advice, opinions from others. So even if you felt confused by your own friend groups and stuff like that, we consulted with the Most High, right? And that's how we were spared. Or that's what you're supposed to do. When you feel like you can't go to your friends, or you're not getting right and exact, or counsel that seems like it's more helpful and it brings ease to your soul from the people around you, then you go within yourself, or you go to the Most High for that. But some people, they don't even do that. They go to a bottle. They go and fuck off. They go to whatever distraction or escape, of their choice, their whatever device, right? Faking spirituality and consciousness for inclusion into mass deception, capitalizing. You can fake it all you want to. It's not going to bring you real results. You can fake it with people. You can fool people. You can fool a lot of them all you want to, but you can't fool God. See, that's the thing. That's what people are coming to realize. You can't fool God. We got one touch. One touch. If I could just touch the hem of your garment, then I know I'll be made whole. So there's some people that feel that way towards y'all. And this is also talking about y'all understanding that it only takes one touch from God, like to heal you or to restore an imbalance or whatever within you. So something about you deepening your bond with the Most High. Look, reproach. We got reproach here. Being ostracized for 12 years, I'm used to being alone. So something about being used to like being alone or feeling alone here, or some of you guys can feel that way. Lost everything I had, now it's gone. Only to gain more back. So I keep hearing Job as well. It says, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, right? Venom. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. I give you the power to tread on serpents and scorpions. I give you, the Most High saying, you have this power. But you forfeit, or you choose to forfeit your power. Or there's people who's chosen to forfeit this power. And so what happens? If you forfeit your power to tread on serpents and scorpions, what ultimately happens? Right? You get bit. You get swallowed, you get caught up. You got Libra here again. So marital, home, relationships, matrimony, partnerships, unity, other people, projection, public enemies, and lawsuits. So something about some lawsuits here as well. Winning some lawsuits. some powerful serpents, people trying to abuse their power and influence, in the law system as well. Oh, wow. Libra season. So, okay. Look, Saturn. I'm gonna tell you right now, Saturn favors Libra. So this is the energy right now. Labor of love is not according to man's definition. Blessing souls is real labor. Thy good and faithful servant, or thy good and faithful friend. It says, ask, believe, and receive. So something about, see, this is the benefit that you get as a result, right? Or ask for what you desire here in a situation, right? It says, put nothing and no one above God. The universe corresponds to your inner feeling. I reject them and so have you. They hate us both. So something about you finding out like people's true feelings towards you or whatever, after you reject something that is not in alignment with your soul. It's not in alignment with, with what brings you peace and harmony here. And sometimes, that's a part of, and this is why passing judgment when it's time, or righteously, is necessary. It's not something that you just neglect and cast out overall. Because you fuck yourself up, have yourself in fucked up situations, or you make yourself more susceptible to be taken advantage of. Something about something about people don't let what you think you like lead to your detriment. Cause I don't know why I'm hearing says by the fire at night. Lucky for you, that's how I like her. That's what I like. I'm hearing that shit. Also talking about how you leading into getting the connections you deserve by past just being selective and passing judgment, as in being discerning about what you want and what you don't want, what you deserve and what you don't deserve, what hurts and what feels good, right? And it ain't even that, damn black and white half the time. Like sometimes something that's good for you like can at first be hurtful, right? Once again, it can get ugly before it gets beautiful. But still having the courage to follow through, right? Then we got the Queen of Pentacles here. The Queen of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. So something is moving fast here, or this is what accelerates this balance here, this structure, this stability that you desire, that brings peace and fertility, and it keeps like abundance growing, like it keeps the path unfolding basically. Then we got the Hermit. So the Hermit could also talk about going within, or just studying to show thyself approved, learning new things, extending your knowledge to just help balance your energy here, or just create balance for you internally, right? So building upon your skills. Then we got the Death card. Yeah, some of you guys could be having people that's trying to, like I already said, people trying to so what I'm getting here too is how this puts death to your competitors, or for them to even have an opportunity to how I want to say this. Yeah, we got Four of Pentacles and Two of Swords. So want to keep you disenfranchised with this confusion energy here, or this lack of trustworthiness, or I don't know, like this competitive force here. Their driving force being competition, and not all competition is bad or whatever, but unnecessary competition and shit. So it even kind of gives me like energy of, you know, we're supposed to be friends here. So the secret, I'm getting like secret enemies type shit, right? People just moving like double with your ass, like double life type shit with your ass. Because we got the moon card here, so something about this being exposed or these secrets, or something to do with this energy here. What's that? The Knight of, I think that's the Knight of Wands. Yeah, and then we have the Hierophant, Ace of Cups, the Fool card. Page of Swords, Four of Wands, and the King of Swords. So, like I said, like this is just, I'm not gonna say like that make or break, but just this severing here of no longer just of those who made the choice to free themselves from these bondages, these different kinds of bondages, and those who chose to remain in it because of fear of the unknown, or just being comfortable in mess, being comfortable in being restricted, or being stunted in their growth spiritually or mentally, psychically. Another thing too, you not operating out of your discernment or passing rightful judgment, you know, and setting boundaries and standing on those boundaries. It also creates a situation where you basically become a source of supply. So it's like, in order to free yourself, it takes for you to have the courage to, you know, speak up about, you know, how you really feel in the situation, or sit there and just continue to be drained and just be used, right? So, but this your girl, the Authentic Empress. Like I said, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse, so I'll see you guys next time.